tonight. I'm so salty, must not give in to rage. And I'm wondering what those rollers will say. Scrubs to the left of me, cheers to the right. Here I am, gonna roll a derby tonight. Gonna roll a derby tonight. Gonna roll a derby tonight.
Coming straight to you from Australia and Hong Kong and more Australia is the Rollers.
It's good that we've expanded out into like Southeast Asia, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to join the podcast anymore, you know? And how terrible would that be?
I like how you think like we've expanded into Southeast Asia. It's not actually anyone from Southeast Asia. We just sort of moved an existing Australian person over there. I've
colonized.
just colonized across the fucking waves. Just took over. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So we've got
like some table noise going on.
Yeah, all kinds of nonsense. That's all right. So we are joined this week by, we've got Merlin, who is the old hat roller from the original state. We know him. How's it going, Merlin? You good?
What up? Yep.
Excellent.
I can prove it. I've got a bowling jersey thing and all.
Oh, he's got the
my name
pink
on
and
it.
black on. Snazzy. And I am Nathan / Butters over here from Western Australia, and also from Western Australia we are joined by Aaron, or Abatan as he is known on Discord. Aaron, how you doing?
Not bad. Good to be on. I think that was me kicking the cord. I didn't want to say anything until I was introduced.
That's all right.
Well, everybody knows now, man.
Yeah.
So, Aaron, very quickly about yourself. What is your clan of choice? What do you play?
I've been playing Unicorn
forever. But you've been dabbling recently, right? Bit of dragon, bit of crab.
Yeah, it's good. I don't know. It's good to mix it up. I think I get a bit. I mean, it gets a bit boring playing with one clan all the time. Maybe.
Yeah, there's
I'm
plenty of other options out there.
Main, but it's good to have some fun with different stuff.
Yeah. Merlin's a one clan kind of man. He doesn't really. Yeah. He doesn't stray. He remains faithful all the time.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm a member of the very elite 1% club, which is that I play other clans 1% of the time.
It's no way to live. I mean, it's all well and good to have loyalties, but you know, you gotta. You're literally, if you're doing that, you're literally paying for just tons of cards that you're never using. Like there are so many dynasty cards that you just won't even see.
No, hang on. Don't get me wrong. Like, I have decks for other clans, but they're for other people to play, you know?
Oh, I see. So they do get use.
Yeah, that's right. When people are in the game, I'm like, hey, check out this dragon deck.
You're an old school player, right? I think you're carrying that clan loyalty.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
It was a super big thing back then. Like, you'd get special letters when you joined the Imperial Assembly and all that cool stuff.
There's something I really like about something that drew me to the game was that clan loyalty.
Yeah. Did you play old L5R?
No, I didn't at all.
No, it was really good though. Like there was a lot more story. I have a feeling that FFG L5R is going to slowly go in that direction. Like they've released a couple of clan letters, over the last couple of days, and they have got more story choice tournaments sort of popping up. Like they've got this other one with Meizawa where the clan champion is choosing where to send the Inquisitor.
Yeah. It's all good stuff,
yeah.
I think.
That's at the UK event. It's kind of strange. It seemed a little bit out of nowhere that that story choice just kind of materialized in the UK Games Expo tournament.
Yeah, isn't it a Grand Cote over there or something?
Yeah, that's right. It's in Birmingham. That's what it is, Birmingham.
That's right. Is that... And that's the big contentious one, where the crane pack's not legal and stuff. Is that it?
Crane pack, my God.
It just made so many people angry. You shouldn't have brought it up. So much rage.
So sad. Yeah. The crane pack has had a big influence on the game, actually, right?
Oh, massive. I think, the thing is, it feels that way, but that's because that was the last one, and like Unicorn was only 2 weeks prior, right? So
yeah, Unicorn had a 2-week long meta.
Yeah. But like, I feel like Unicorn and Crane are sort of on top of each other as far as meta change goes. I feel like Uji, I haven't seen him ruin as many lives as I expected, but he is obviously super strong. But unicorn pack like Chagatai, even though I think he's kind of boring, has obviously just he's super strong. Like when he hits the table, he dominates games. Like, he just really, really goes nuts. I think Uji maybe just requires a little bit too much setup because he's a big fat investment, and then you need the fate to buy the extra people. Don't get me wrong, he's still busted as fuck, but he's he's a good body, just doesn't warp as hard as I thought he would, which is a good thing.
Well, I think if you're willing to buy Yoshi, then you're definitely willing to buy Uji. You know?
I've never rated Yoshi at all. I struggle with any card that just might not work, period, because I can't get the favor. Like, I really struggle with Sencha, even though it's a really good card. And any of those things, they hurt me.
Well, it sounds like you just need to include more Ancient Masters in your deck, mate.
Ancient Master makes me so mad. It's the dumbest. Don't stop me on Ancient. No, it's stupid. Like, everyone loses their mind over that stupid card. All it is pay 1 for 2 glory for the turn. Like, okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's lame.
But that's because your favor's, like, really important. Right, Aaron?
It is, but look, I've been thinking about that. Everyone loves him, but then there's these 1 cost 2 glory guys in line that, I guess it's the dynasty rather than the conflict that everyone's down on.
Yeah, right. People they hate on him all the time. I don't think that, I mean, admittedly they are fucking awful, but don't get me wrong. Like, we're not going to have a War Dog Master conversation again. Don't worry about that. But we learned from those mistakes. But yeah, I think half the issue with Lion, to be honest, I think it's the pride keyword. Like, it's obviously treated like every other keyword, but it's just as likely a bad thing as a good thing, and so it obviously doesn't quite work right. Like,
yeah, I definitely agree with that. There was that attachment out of Phoenix that gives you pride, and it never felt good, right? It felt like whenever you played it, you were baiting your opponent into kind of
it's almost a harpoon.
Doing more to win the conflict, right? Because you're in the conflict and the other person passes, and you're like, oh, okay, that signals that they don't have anything left to do in the conflict. And you're like, great, I will put on my magnificent kimono, and then they're like, all right, well, I'll touch a fan. You know?
Yeah, and you lose it. I suppose the thing with the Magnificent Kimono is you can use it, like, offensively. Like, if you can turn it into a win more card, right? Or lose more card, I guess, for your opponent. So you can drop it on your opponent's, I don't know, Taturi or whatever, if he's not winning, and dishonor him. And then just keep doing it. But, I don't know.
I know we've passed it, but I really like Sencha. I really like that you get some turns in a game where you know doesn't matter what happens this turn if you lose provinces, but if you get the favour, then your big events are safe. In Unicorn, anyway.
Yeah.
I felt like.
Yeah.
And that made really exciting turns for me.
Yeah. Like, I feel like the Imperial Favour doesn't matter much at all in this game, except for Sencha. Yeah. Like, as I said, I struggle with any card like that just might not work for me, but even if I don't have Sencha myself, I'm always very aware that my opponent probably does somewhere in their deck. Yep. And so I still want the favour almost exclusively for that reason.
Yeah.
And if they've got the favour, that's just it, right? You can't tech around it, really. I mean, there's that Scorpion chick, what's her name? The one that nabs the favour when she dies. But even that, it's like, you gotta wait for her to die, right? You gotta throw her off a bridge or something to get that done. So.
Fawning Diplomat? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one.
Diplomat. Yeah. So yeah, no, but, they're all, it's good, so I like it for that reason. But other cards like Yoshi, which is where we started, I struggle with that sort of stuff that just might not work. It feels like a giant liability. That said, he hands my ass to me every time he hits the table. So,
what's your take on
Yoshi
the
Storm takes place, which is savage.
The lion favour.
Yeah, Ujiaki as well, also very, very crazy. I don't know, there's a couple others out there, but they're all rubbish. Can you guys tell me the name of the Dragon Clan monk that uses the Imperial Favour?
No.
Aaron? No idea?
All right. If anybody in the audience knows the name of the monk, tweet it at us.
I could tell you off the top of my head, but I'm not going to spoil it. I will, because otherwise we're going nowhere, right? No, so it's do you remember the itinerant philosopher, I think his name is? So
right.
he's like a 1-2 for 2, and you've got to be in a conflict and discard the favor, and then you can send someone home or something. Some little monk that is, I don't think he's never seen the inside of a deck ever. Like, I'm not convinced that card has ever even been sleeved. Like, I don't think it's ever taken place.
Or it's not only that, it's choose an opponent's participating character with one or more attachments by that character.
Yeah, and you have to have the favor around.
Yeah, use 2 costs for a 1/1. Yep, never mind.
Move on.
Junk.
Yeah. Oh, like, yeah, no, yes. Alright, so, anyway, Aaron, you, as we were saying earlier, you started playing Five Rings over with one of the Imperial Advisor guys and a crew over in Ireland before you moved back here?
Yeah, Justin and the crew over in Limerick there.
That's cool. Are they horrible people and really awful?
They're amazing people. Gentlemen, all of them.
Gentlemen, all of them.
Yeah. No, they were great to start with. I played extra with a lot of them, and then when Five Rings was re-released, Justin was obviously one of the big drivers, but everyone kind of jumped across. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
good fun.
Do you find is there much of a meta / play tone difference between sort of over here and over there? Like, does the game feel different with the way people play it, or are nerds just nerds and they're going to do what nerds do?
I think there's a bit of that, but when I first came over, it felt like it was a pretty competitive group over there in Ireland.
Yep.
And we've certainly got competitive guys here, but there's a good bit of, people trying to make stuff work and playing fun decks. And
nice way of saying we're kind of just shit compared to them.
Well, I've come to really like that.
It's nice to win.
Yeah, I can take my stupid dueling dragon deck and have some fun with it and not worry so much
good stuff.
about what happens.
Cool.
Yeah.
I dig it. Yeah. So you, it wasn't the weekend just passed, wasn't the tournament we had? You had a dragon dueling deck, the one before that.
Yeah.
So what was the win condition on that? Were you going for like a bit of a switch, or is it?
No, it's pure Dishonor. I mean, it has
Dishonor?
a hard time breaking provinces, but it can.
Yeah.
Have you guys about getting those die shows out and hoping you've got enough duels in your hand to bring them down to 0 with them?
Die show. I would put actual money on Daisho hitting a restricted list by the end of the year.
Yeah, it's just not fun to play against. It's amazingly fun to play, but to play against it.
Well, the thing is, if you put a Daisho on the table, right, then somebody isn't getting to play their game anymore.
Yeah.
Either, because someone that knows how to play again. Yeah, no, seriously, because it's exactly the same sort of argument as Tadaka, albeit not as bad, because all you need is a bit of attachment hate, right? And you can manage it, and you should already have that in your deck. But
you need attachment hate, but you can't play it during the conflict because it'll get Defend Your Honor.
Oh, well, I've had Defend Your Honor, get Defend Your Honor, and then they have that get Defend Your Honor. So you got like 3 duels back to back almost. Yeah. Which is fantastic shenanigans, and it's actually pretty good fun. But I think I find with the Daisho, my reasoning is that if I'm on the receiving end of the Daisho and I've got all these duels coming down range at me, then I feel like I can't do anything. Because because you are dueling me not to win the duels, you're dueling me for that honor grind.
Yeah, absolutely.
And those duel effects are going on because you're towering a little bit, right? So if I actually bid to try to win some of those duels, I'm actively feeding your game plan because I'm just giving you bigger honor swing. Yep. And you don't give a fuck about the duel. But so that's what happens, right? I get boned that way. I just lose faster if I try to engage. On the flip side, if I know what I'm doing when a Daisho hits the table, I just don't engage in those conflicts. I remove all my people. I assassinate my own guys. I don't want to play that game. I don't want to be in those fights. So your entire game plan just stops. You sort of take a random province maybe now and then, and I'll try and just work around it. So someone isn't getting to play the way they want to.
Yeah, it's when you have to try to start pushing for provinces, but without the tools to do it.
Yeah, that's it. That said, I've sort of noticed I think between the changes to not the restricted list, but the the changes to the roles, and Daisho in particular, I think, has really switched on Dishonor decks. And I feel like, particularly after last weekend, the tournament just gone, I felt throughout that tournament that Dishonor is something I have to actively tech against now. Like I feel like it's a real threat all the time, and like the danger zone has moved up from like 3 or 4 honor up to more like 6. Like if I'm below 6, I feel like, I've got to really start watching what I'm doing now. Have you found the same?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've had games where like I've seen there's the backhand of the compliments from my opponent's hand, and I've gone, right, I'm sitting here on 5 honor, and I'm really close to being dishonored out.
Yeah, but that's the thing, because what about you, Merlin? Have you noticed much Dishonor stuff out there? Like, is that something that's taken your attention?
It's actually not very popular here with the local group in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
A lot of the players here, so there's a Unicorn player here who does very well with sort of the HMT Unicorn.
Yep.
But the rest of the players here are kind of, they're pioneers, right? Like they're trying out different things like Mill Scorpion and all that kind of thing.
Yep.
It's very much less hyper competitive over here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So no, I don't know. I mean, maybe at like the Shogun levels of play, it's not as big of a deal. But I definitely find that anyone can splash a Daisho and a bunch of jewels, and that sort of enables any clan to realistically be able to grind you out honor-wise. And even on the flip side, it makes honor decks slightly more doable, not quite as much. Admittedly, it's a much harder slog to get yourself an honor victory than to dishonor someone out, because there's just so much more dishonor in the game, right?
You know what's kind of interesting? I was thinking about, the Phoenix deck, which has like Fishicho and Charge and all that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's got a really interesting core, right? Like it's you build the Fishicho and the Charge, and you put these characters in, and then you can do this bolt on of like Crane Splash. All right, now I'm going for like all honored stuff, and Dragon Splash. I'm doing, I'm protecting my guys with attachments and stuff, and going for the favor. You bolt on all of these things.
Yeah,
I kind of like that bolt on sort of thing. It means you can take a clan that you like and enjoy playing, and then attach the Miyamoto's Daisho honor pressure type thing, and see. I wonder if this will work. I wonder how this will go.
No, it does. I mean, I think the Daisho thing, though, is like it's a pretty fat package. Like, you've got to run the Daisho, and you have to back it up with a ton of jewels to work. And ideally, a couple of Dynasty characters that have built-in jewels as well, so that you can, leverage 1 or 2 a turn from that. But
there was one guy here who built a Crane dueling deck with Daisho and things like that in there.
They get rough.
I actually didn't find it too bad, because he was only running 2 Daisho, so it was kind of rare that it would hit the table, and then when it did, you could just kind of deal with it, and then, that was it. That's the end of the...
Nah, see, I find Daisho... Like, Daisho decks revolve around the Daisho, right? So you run like Illustrious Forge, and you could run like, my favorite card of the month is the Compass, where you can sort of filter a little bit, and I've even started toying with decks building the Seeker Initiates. Because I think when decks are starting to need specific cards to really switch on, and then you're really on board, I feel like that 5-card filter is almost worth running those Seeker Initiates, even though they're otherwise not great. But I think it really, really helps.
Yeah, my real problem with Seeker Initiates is having to pay for them.
Yeah, I mean, well, they're a body, and they can do some things, and they can draw your card, so...
Even you sound unconvinced.
Well, it's because I'm not, like, you rarely see them played, but I think what I'm saying is, as the game moves into a more combo-y space, where you need a certain collection of cards together, then mad shit starts to happen, and you can really take off. I think cards like, with any kind of not mill, but like any kind of filtering or tutoring is the term, sorry.
tutoring.
Yeah, I think they get a lot more value, and I think they become a lot more. Like, if I were to tell you there was a card that was, it was 2 fate, it was a 1/1, it had 2 glory, but you could go through the top 5 cards of your deck every turn and draw a card. That doesn't sound too bad, right?
It doesn't sound too bad. There's a couple. You've missed a few things though, right? So first of all, I have to potentially pass up the opportunity. Yeah, you've passed up the potential opportunity to pass first in the Fate phase, sorry, the Dynasty phase, and then you are going in on a very particular ring, which is now telegraphed. You know, if you win this ring, you're going to have the added bonus of being able to draw these cards. Yep. So it's not just a case of I throw down a 2-cost 1/1 and get a bit of extra glory and then go grab a card.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I feel that's what I mean. That's why I'm sort of on the fence a bit about it, but I can see its value. Like,
yeah,
I see increasingly, because I run a lot of Secret Cache because I play a lot of Scorpion or Secret Cache, whatever you want to call it. But and I find the value of that card just goes up and up and up, like every cycle that comes out.
That's
like
incredible.
Like when I'm hunting for answers for stuff, like I almost always, even now, get something I that's perfect for right now every time I get to go through those 5. And I think I don't know, I feel like the old little monk will definitely get there.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't play the card, right? Like, in terms of like the spectrum of good and bad, it's definitely somewhere in the middle, right? It's not great, it's not terrible, but you know, play it if you like it.
I want to see it in that Phoenix Void deck you guys were talking about last week.
I was just going to bring that up. I was going to say, you know what I have had a bit of fun with recently is that deck where you're attaching the, what is it, unexpected something or other? Unveiled Destiny.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you're attaching Unveiled Destiny and suddenly you're in a Void conflict. It is the best thing ever. I swear to God. Especially when you are like walking the way for Eugenia, and then you charge Eugenia onto the table, or whatever. You are removing many fate per turn, and you've got maybe K-Days hit the table. You're removing tons of fate per turn, and then you're killing your opponent's characters at the same time. That friend of mine in Canberra, we played an epic game on the weekend, and it was really close. Like, I had control of the game for at least the first, 2-3 turns of the game, and I put down the Unveiled Destiny. He's got a straightened Chagatai on the table who's not defending, and I go and attack one of his provinces, and Chagatai is about to lose. He's about to lose Chagatai, right? Just because he's just a stubborn son of a bitch, right? He wins that game. But doing that kind of stuff, removing your opponent's characters is so much fun.
Yeah, Mark, who's the Cardinate, he is on Discord and Jigoku, but Mark is the guy who put that together initially before we talked about it last week. He speaks fondly of that deck. Like, he just sits there for a game and just deletes people for the entire time. Yeah, delete. And just strips them out. And apparently it gets quite hectic. But it does sound like a lot of fun. Not so much on the receiving end. But definitely. Yeah. But I like that. I mean, it does sound like I'd love for a deck like that to get legs to the point where it's super competitive. Instead of just super feels good. But
the problem with that deck is really the economy. You've got a lot of really high cost things in there, like Unveiled Destiny, which is of course an attachment, so it's vulnerable to all your attachment destruction stuff.
Yeah. No, that's the thing, isn't it? Just the old fate trap.
And you basically play it, and if they do something to remove it, you kind of lose that investment. It doesn't pay off until you win a conflict with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is a lot of fun though.
Have you managed to have a game versus like Crab with all their stupid saves, and you can just delete them?
Chewing through the saves, yeah.
I did. I don't think I. No, actually, I don't think I did play against Crab with that deck. I think I was playing my other sort of standard deck. But I don't know.
So I feel like that'd be where it's at its best. You got like a big fat witch hunter on the table with 2 iron mines down there and a couple of reprieves, and Let's go, nah.
Nobody buys Witch Hunter against Phoenix. Come on.
None of that matters. Yeah, true that. True that. You're doing it wrong if you've done that, I guess. No, I dig it. But no, it's good. But that's, I suppose, all these decks I'm seeing pop up, and they can even, they do stuff. They're winning, and there's a little more variety. I suppose we have just, the meta has just been completely table flipped over the last few weeks. So it's not really a good version. Do you guys have any estimates as to what the new meta is going to be? The new good stuff?
No, but I know where we can find out.
Where's that?
The Australian and Southeast Asia Discord League.
Segue!
Smooth transition.
Segue indeed. Alright, so, the Discord League. How are we going? We kicked that off, was it this morning?
Yeah, it was like last night, which is basically tomorrow, Hong Kong time.
Yep. Nice one.
It's funny actually. I don't know why, but Aaron, your name Abutan is super notable. I don't know why, because I remember keying your name into the roster, and then when you jumped on here for the call, I'm like, oh, is that who it is?
It's that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that name again.
Yeah. It's all those A's.
It's all the A's. Yeah, it's the two A's next to each other at the end.
It's very strange. Abutan.
Are you and Aaron with two A's?
Yep.
I am. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
A's for days,
always
mate.
have to be first at everything.
Yep.
Oh no, Aaron, did you in the last Discord League? Was it you that came second?
Yeah, it came in second. Yep.
So here you go.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I quite enjoy it. I tried the Global Discord League myself a while back while I was doing the Oz Discord League, and I just completely ran out of time to play games, and I was just juggling too many things. So I've decided I'm going to commit to Oz Discord League a few times, give that a few cracks, and if I do decent, then I'll move on and do the big one as well. But no, it's really good. I noticed though, I'm not sure what went on with your pairings there, Merlin, but most of the WA guys have all been paired up with other WA people, like off the bat.
So I have an answer for that one, because I get stats. One of the things on the registration form is like, where are you from? Because we open up the league to like Southeast Asia countries and things sort of similar, in people in a similar time zone.
Yep.
And 33% of everyone in this league is from Western Australia.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
So way to keep the scene alive, buddy-o. And then five are from Victoria, and then we've got like one from SA, one from Queensland, two from New South Wales.
Wow.
And then we've got two from China, one from Philippines, one from Singapore, and one from the ACT.
Well, those everybody representing on their own, good on them, except Brisbane, get your act together. Brisbane is supposed to be like the biggest L5R scene in Australia. Well, I suppose they've got all these people to play with in person. They don't need to play online. So
you know who that is? That's Aaron. That's the defending Crane Hatamoto from last year's tournament.
He smoked me in the last Discord League. It was pretty unpleasant. I'm not going to let that happen again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Draw a line in the sand.
And actually, one of the guys, Marwan, I don't know if he's still in Australia. Marwan, let us know if you're still in Australia, because I think he might be in like Malaysia or somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he a migrator like yourself? Is he?
No, I think he went back home for like family or something.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe visa reason. I can't remember.
All kinds of reasons.
He can let us know on. Do we actually have like? He can let us know on like the Australian Discord or something.
Yeah.
Was he playing Lion in the last league? Or was that someone else I'm thinking of?
Unlikely. He's a Phoenix devotee.
Okay. No. Yeah.
Trouble. So I think we've got the stats I noticed for the clan alignments are pretty interesting for the Oz Discord League. We've got, what were the stats there, Mel?
You've got one Phoenix. I don't think that's right, actually. So sorry, two Phoenix, one Lion, three Dragon, one Crab, three Unicorn, six Crane, and six Scorpion.
Yeah, that's pretty heavy. So what's going on? I mean, I suppose the Crane pack coming out is the reasoning for all the Cranes, and I guess I feel like Scorpion have got this massive invigoration just because of the role change. I feel like Seeker of Air, suddenly everybody's like, oh, Dishonor can be a thing, let me have a crack. And they're like, I don't know, I feel like they're a bit psyched for it.
Keeper?
Keeper of Air.
Keeper.
Well, they've got both, but Keeper of Air is what gives you like your Mark of Shame and your backhanded compliments and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So this deck, right? This Scorpion Dishonor deck. I don't know if you guys remember Nationals from not last year, but the year before. That's when Backhanded Compliment was actually previewed. And one of the fellows who had won Dragon Hatamoto at Gen Con went to Worlds and he gave up his Dragon Hatamoto ship to play Scorpion. Yeah, so that he could get top of clan in Scorpion and deny the Scorpion clan a keeper role.
Yeah, that was amazing.
You remember that?
That's a fantastic move. A jerk move, but a fantastic move all the same. Like, I can appreciate a good dick move myself.
I mean, I think he was trying to do it for the health of the game, but I really like to see it as a dick move.
That's. I mean,
I don't know. I think it's a great story, and I'm a sucker for a great story.
That's where I'm coming from with that.
I like it. Yeah, goes down in history. But so no, that's good. So Discord League, how long have we got? Like, it's at a week between rounds or 2 weeks?
Yeah, so I think we're going to schedule in... So we've got 22 players all up. I'm going to schedule in 5 rounds of Swiss. And I think with this many players, we'll probably cut to a top 4. I don't know if we've got enough for a top 8.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
No, that sounds good.
And maybe we'll try and televise some of these. You guys...
Televise? That's ambitious. Do you mean maybe streaming?
I watch streams on my TV. What do you watch on your TV? I don't watch TV on my TV. Forget that.
Yeah, TV is quite trash garbage. The internet is a superior medium. Nah, cool. Yeah, I'm dead keen. No, I'd be keen to have a crack at that. We've still got to do our Seeker of Void versus Keeper of Air showdown, Merlin. Yeah, we've got to get that happening at some point. But
maybe if we're lucky enough to get paired up in the Discord League. We'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Go.
Or I'll kill 1 scorpion with 1 stone. How's that?
We can, but that's not the breeder scorpion I play when I'm doing competitive. I stick to the old cheap and nasty for me. Thank you very much. It works a treat. Does what I need. Well. Yeah. But no, I dig it. I'm super keen on that.
We've got a result in for the Discord League already.
What?
James Wang has won his game. Who was James playing? Let's have a quick look-see. James was playing... Oh, Edwin! He won against Edwin.
Oh, really?
Wow. Yes.
Oh, Edwin does quite good.
Go, James.
What was he playing? James... That wasn't a Crane Scorpion showdown, was it? Because that would be incredible.
Well, actually, it doesn't say.
Is that Scorpion Mirror?
It's not on the game results thing. I think I'm expecting myself to do a little work and go and look things up. Right. So James
I swore work off long ago. I don't engage
playing Scorpion. He's playing Scorpion in this. So he's playing according to this. Sorry. Well, actually, you can change your deck in between rounds. He was playing Crane Splash. So Scorpion with Crane Splash.
Yeah, it would have been the bridge deck. So
kill deck.
Throwing people off bridges.
Throw people.
Noble sacrifice.
I regret nothing.
And what do you call it? The Soul Beyond Reproach. Super, just ridiculously good cards together in Scorpion. But it basically means that you've got like between that and all the other tricks you get in Scorpion, like the Soshi Illusionist and Mark of Shame. And all the others, like Way of the Scorpion and everything else. And just the standards, like court games, like, it just is so easy to get the tools together to throw people off bridges. It's, super solid. But, no, I can...
Display,
but I think I can...
Does it?
Yeah, I can see... Yeah. I can see how that works. I can see how Edwin might have lost there, because Edwin's running a Dishonor deck, which is super good at the moment, which he did very, very well with in the last weekend, because he's also local to us now. He's another person that's abandoned Melbourne to flee to the better country, better state.
No. Nobody abandoned Melbourne. He came from Albury, thank you.
He did.
Yeah. But didn't you abandon Melbourne?
I don't know if abandon's the right word.
You were banished. You were sent to the wall.
You see, I was sent north to the warmer parts of the world.
Yep. Yep.
So, speaking of Melbourne, in August, right? Like Gen Con is happening, right? And so I've committed to Gen Con because I didn't know whether we were having a Kotei in Australia.
Yep.
And now that a Kotei in Australia has been announced, not only has it been announced, which is great, it's also the week after Gen Con finishes. So I'm going to go over to Gen Con. I'm going to do this crazy Pacific Rim sort of circuit, right? I'm going to go over to Gen Con, and then I'm going to fly back down to Melbourne, and then I'm going to drive road trip north with a bunch of mates to Sydney, which is where the event's at, drive back to Melbourne, and then fly back to Hong Kong.
Oh, that is rough.
That's my August.
That is very, very similar to what mine is shaping. Like, if I desperately want to get to Kotei, if I do though, so the weekend prior, I'm away for 3 days at like what we affectionately dubbed Nerd Camp over here. It's like year 8, where we basically a ton of us, like 20 guys, go down south in like a cabin in the woods and just play nerd games for like the whole weekend and just eat terrible food. And then we would come back. I would get back, go pretty much straight to the airport, fly up north to the top of the country for like 5 days for my mum's birthday, for like her 60th, and then fly back. And then I would have to basically just stay at the airport for 2 hours to get on a new plane and go over to the Kotei to make it in time for that morning to start at 9. So it will be savage and my eyes will be just oozing out of my face and I won't be able to play. I'll need to just...
Nothing will go wrong with that plan. Nothing.
It will be flawless and perfect. Everything will be okay. But, I desperately want to go though. And to top it all off, we've got nationals being bandied around at the moment.
Nationals?
Yeah, like, nationals is an event that's meant to take place at some point. We don't know exactly when, but it's being rumored to be some point towards the end of the year, which is also going to be prickly. So we will see. We will see. So we're going to get a nationals tournament and we're going to get a Kotei ideally over here. And I'm still not... Do you guys happen to recall what nationals actually is? Because I asked around a bit and no one actually knows. Apparently FFG haven't really told people what that means in the competitive play structure of things.
No, I was wondering. I had that same question on my tongue.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember there was a con in the United States which is going to be like the North American Nationals. I remember that sort of the news came out for that, but FFG didn't say anything for ages. So we don't know anything about like the prize structure. The only thing that they've mentioned is that under the new organized play sort of regime is that they're going to go back to their roots as far as like organized play. So you're going to have like store champs and daily nightly kits and then sort of store champs and regionals and nationals. And I think for L5R they also have Kotei, which is like an uber premium event on top of that.
Yeah, I'm dead keen.
And then that all kind of rolls up into World of the Worlds for the Worlds tracks that you've got.
Yeah. No, I like it. I'm struggling though, because even if I would lose my shit if I could pull off a Hatamoto. But realistically,
that'd be amazing.
Going to an event like that and playing Scorpion though is like just stacking chips against yourself. So many people play fucking Scorpion. Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't mind betting actually Scorpion's probably the most popular clan if you were to tally it up.
In Australia, for sure. Like it always has been in Australia.
Yeah.
And you know what? So I've been sort of demoing the game a bit around Hong Kong and with some work colleagues and things like that, and everyone wants to play bloody Scorpion as like their starting clan. I'm like, you do not want to play Scorpion as like when you're learning the game.
Nah.
It's like the skill, the low end of the skill sort of curve is way higher than a lot of other clans.
Because it's good to be bad though. Like.
I know, yeah.
You bad.
But I think that's... I don't know, I feel like that's why people like Scorpion. People like to be tricksy and...
Yeah.
And do the weird things. Like, and Scorpion also though, from a deck building perspective, Scorpion are easier than other clans. Like, maybe they're harder to play, but Scorpion have got all of the tools in their toolbox. They've got cancels, and they've got blanks, and they've got Dishonor, and they've got auto kills. They're the only clan, I think, that has got direct Dishonor cards. Like, they've got tons of card draw. They've got everything, right? They've got straight kill on multiple personalities. They can steal opponent. They've just got so many tools. Like, it's so easy just to put them together and have everything you need.
That causes a problem for me. When I'm making a deck like that, I put in everything that I think that I want, and then I've got 50, 60 cards in there. And
what do you take out? Because I think Scorpion, I think, is probably one of the only clans where it's completely viable to run support of the Scorpion. I think that's completely legit. I have often built a Scorpion deck, and I'm like, well, I have to splash something. What can I fucking use? Like, I do. And like, now I'm having to dig good cards out and go, I guess I'll chuck in Watch Commanders. I don't fucking know. I suppose I could reprieve and keep Kachiko around another turn. Like,
yeah, I do that with Phoenix as well. So, like, sometimes I'll be on, like, Five Rings DB, just, I don't know, waiting for a bus or something.
Yep.
And I'm keying in the deck, and I'm like, oh, yeah, some of this, a little bit of that. Oh, yeah, add some stuff here, buff some stuff there. And then I'll get to the end, and I'm like, that was a lot easier than I thought. And it's got only Phoenix cards in it.
Yeah, that's it. It's just, I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong, but I'd like to see a bit more variety. It's so hard to trim the deck, though. You're like, particularly, like, 'cause you don't want too many cancels in your hand when there's nothing to cancel. But fuck me if I need a cancel and I haven't got one.
You want it.
Right, I'm fucking doomed. You get completely written off.
So we've got all these big events coming up, right?
Yep.
We've got ECs in Sydney coming up in sort of the near term, and ECs in Perth in the near term.
Yep.
In sort of the medium term, we've got Gen Con and Worlds and stuff. In the bigger global sort of sense, you've got Birmingham coming up, and then Atlanta, I think, is after that, and then of course Worlds. So for anybody around the world that's listening, do you guys have, like, what's your pro deck building tips, right? Like, and I don't mean like cards. I mean, what's your process? Tell me how you go about putting together your competition deck.
I'll let Aaron go first.
Whew.
Tell us all your secrets.
Yes. What do I do? Like, I feel like there's a core in Unicorn that I want, and it's a pretty big core.
Yeah,
it's 5 cost. It's a 6/3, and it doesn't bow when it breaks provinces.
All the whole It's every card without a picture of a horse.
For me, it's about. Jeez, what it is?
Even the horse itself is not
trying to work out what utility, because I want a lot of province breaking stuff. And I'm trying to work out what utility I want and what utility I can kind of get away with not having in there, or having maybe as a 1 or a 2 of.
What do you mean by utility?
I mean, like your spyglasses and your mere mystics, I guess, that kind of stuff.
Oh, I missed that. Sorry.
Oh, like what do you mean by utility? What kind of stuff are you including for that?
Right. So anything that's not a military, pump, really. I mean, talismans and attachment removal and event cancel. Like, I want a couple of Defend Your Honors or Censures.
Yeah.
Definitely want some attachment control. I kind of want some talismans.
Oh, they're so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you sort of work out? Do you think about the meta? Like, people often talk about the meta, in air quotes. Do you think about that? And what is it? How do you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How does that affect your decision making?
I mean, recently, a good example of that is So in the last Discord league, I was on the Phoenix Splash just because I was having a ton of fun with it, but I really struggled not having any attachment control. And then a couple of clans, Crane and Crab, and I guess Dragon in particular, that I had a really hard time with, because of that. So I've been playing Drag again, and now I don't know what's going on with Crane. I'm trying to work out if they've moved away from attachments a little bit. I'm still trying to suss it out. If I can kind of go back to Lion Splash, because Lion's got some fun stuff too.
Yeah, Lion Splash is fucking great.
Yeah, but it just doesn't let me. Sometimes I want to be able to remove attachments that aren't in conflicts, and I can't do that with one. Yeah. Maybe that's not as important as it used to be. So that's all about trying to work out what the meta is and adjusting for it.
So I think,
it's part of the game that I really love is the deck building.
Yeah, I spend way too much time building decks and then just deleting them. And then building a new deck. For days and days. So much.
Dude, if you go to my 5 Rings DB, where it lists out all your decks, all the decks are called New Phoenix deck, right? or copy of somebody else's Phoenix deck, and that's it. I never delete them. Some of them are in there. Have you noticed that when you click on some of them, they'll take you back to the new, where you select your stronghold and things like that? Because I've gone through the whole sort of process, but then I haven't saved the deck.
It's not there at all.
So there's now a minefield of decks in the list that take you to that select your stronghold page.
That's good.
So I go through and colorblind every now and again. When the meta really changes, I colorblind 20 or 30 deck lists that I have that aren't relevant anymore.
What about you, good buddy? What's your process?
So I think that sounds just like you guys. I look at my deck, I decide what I tend to start with a stupid combo. Is always my thing. I begin with a shitty gimmick, and I put the core cards for my shitty gimmick in, and then I put a real deck over the top of it, and then I go through and I trim out everything that I put in for my shitty gimmick, and then I've got a real deck left behind at the end. Because there are cards that you need, and I think to myself, okay, well, if I'm going to have a cancel, right, I need it. If I'm using Forged Edict, because most of my decks are Scorpion, but I run my edicts, I'm like, all right, could I trim that down to 2? And the answer is, well, I could, but if I need a cancel, it's because the game is about to end and I'm just not going to come back, and you need it. When you need it, it has to be there or the game is ending, right? So you have to have that sort of stuff. I think something I've only learnt over time is to go back and learn how to trim cards down to fit them in. So I'll look at any card I'm including, and I think if this is a card where if I have 2 or 3 in my hand, how likely is it that I'm gonna look at them and go, shit, I wish that was something else. Like, that's dead weight. And if I feel like that, then I'm gonna cut it down to 2. And if it's the sort of card where I really want to see it every game, I'll leave it at 2. If it doesn't really matter, it's just like a bit of spice that I want to throw out now and then to keep my opponent on their toes, or might be really good now and then I'll cut it down to 1. But if it's something I really do want to see consistently, but I don't absolutely have to have, or I can't actively gain from having multiples in my hand, then it'll be in that 2 bracket. So, stuff 3s I'll run like, your backhanded compliments if you're running them. 3s you might run your Forged Edict, Sway of the Scorpion, 4 Shame. Those kind of cards, you can comfortably run 3, because you can just play them for days, right? They'll go forever. They're always going to work. Court games is probably in that category too. Sometimes I'll drop it to a 2 because it's a bit more limited. Like if I'm getting hit with Unicorn on military conflicts and I've got 3 court games in my hand, I'm a bit like, well, this is garbage. I can't use them, So, like Assassination, I'll rarely run more than 2. Often even only 1. But I think that's more an indictment of the honor levels of the decks I play than it is the cards and types. Sometimes, like if I'm playing like a Dishonor Scorpion, like open hand, I might run 3 Assassination because you really want to have plenty of honor control in your own deck. You want to be able to gut your own honor when you need to, so that you can, keep tapping your box. But I do the same with Dynasty. So, like for characters, I'll look at the ones that are core that I really want to see. And if I see them multiple times in a turn, is that good or not? And if it's not, I'll drop them down to 2. If they're just not that important, but they might have a neat effect, like a lot of the Magistrates, then you might just put 1 in there. But for the most part, my conflict deck is much more varied. I think that conflict deck assembly strategy for me was forced into me by Tadaka & Co. like trimming down the events I have, like to have not so many multiples. So I've got this. I sort of changed my personality due to trauma, and I had to adjust, and I run a lot more attachments these days, like heaps more attachments.
I stubbornly refused to do that and just got caught out by him all the time because of it.
Yep, but they're just some of them are good. I mean, I get gimmicks. Like I've always struggled with fans and katanas because I don't do anything fun, right? You just sort of vomit them onto the table and they just float around, stinking the place up for a while, winning conflicts because they're amazing cards, even though they're boring as hell.
Yeah. I tried to replace the fans and katanas with Jurigen's Curse for the fans, and what's the flaming katana for
Katana of Fire?
For the fine katana. Just because you could 2-4 them, and they weren't as good, strictly speaking, not as efficient, card for stat sort of ratios.
That's it.
But they were. It was kind of fun. I never actually managed to use Jurigen's Curse. I think that's a dud.
A bit more utility. But I think that's how I prefer it anyway. I mean, it depends on your deck as well. Like, out of Scorpion, I've been able to get away with dropping my fans for compasses. Again, favourite card of the month. But because so many Scorpion guys have got that 3 stat for their political, the +1 from the compass is all you need to tick to 4 and threaten most boxes.
Yeah,
most provinces. So
I used to run the Seal of the Unicorn over katanas just because it was a lot more fun.
Yeah.
And it's probably in most cases the worst card, but every now and again it was great.
Well, these days,
I think
Unicorn have got a premium substitute though. They've got the curved blade, so.
A lot of people are running them both, all the military.
So I think Seal is actually a good card in Unicorn because it would normally be a 2-card combo where you have to have the Seal on and then you have to have another card that says do funky shit with cavalry, but your Stronghold already starts with do funky shit with cavalry, so it's not really a 2-card combo. You can combo it with your Strongholds just by playing the one card.
Yeah, with the old box. There's so much stuff that only works on Unicorn people, though.
There is, isn't there?
Yeah,
I was looking at Unicorn Splash, and I'm like, this would be great if it didn't have Unicorn.
No, it's exactly it. But but there's heaps of stuff that only works with Unicorn. But equally, a lot of stuff that only works on non-Unicorn, like gauging customs and stuff, right? So you can run those sort of... Like, Unicorn feeds off neutral people way more than other clans. So you can sort of run both, and if you need that Unicorn stuff, you can drop the seal on them. I think all the seals probably have more value. I think it's just a matter of support for those keywords.
Yeah, I think I'll keep becoming more valuable.
Yeah, across the board in the game, I think the clan packs will all come out, and that sort of splashes a little bit more of the keywords every time they come out for all those decks. And I think after that, you'll probably get you only need a little bit more, and then you're okay as far as cards go. There's still not quite enough to like build decent tribe decks or theme decks. Not serious ones anyway. Like, you can definitely put a full Shinobi deck together. You're not going to win anything for the most part, but I suppose the only exception is cavalry out of Unicorn. You pretty much you really need to be running a strictly cavalry deck to get the most out of their gear, right?
Yeah,
it's like Shigenja out of Phoenix. You've basically got, if you just run sort of the good ones, you've got what you need.
Yeah, well, Phoenix's keyword is scholar. Keep in mind, it's not Shigenja. It just feels that way.
Isn't there really?
It says it on the seal. The seal is the authority.
Is it?
Is it though?
No, sorry, I changed mine. I'm the fucking authority, and I'm telling you that it's scholar.
So I've often wondered, but if it doesn't really do anything, right, then is it really there? It's like Berserker in Crab, right? You can add Berserkers, and you can put Berserker in the deck, but if it doesn't actually do anything, is it even really a keyword?
But that's what I mean. Like, there are Berserker cards. Sorry, Aaron, go ahead, man.
I was going to say, well, it does a little bit, but it will one day. It'll be a really fun day.
Yeah. I think.
Oh, sure.
I think for me, that's why this game feels a bit stifled as far as deck creation is concerned. Like, when Emperor Edition dropped in Old 5R, like, from the get-go, you'd buy your starter box for your clan, and you had 4 different strongholds, I think. Might have been 3. Pretty sure it was 4. Like, from the go. Every clan. There were 9 clans, and they all had 4 strongholds apiece from the word go. And so there was all this variety in the kind of thing, and all the strongholds were quite different. And you had all these different options for every deck, and obviously the stronghold is always there, just like it is in this game. Like, your box defines how you build the rest of your deck. So I think the more strongholds they can release, the better. It just makes such a big difference, and it leverages a lot more. But all of those strongholds, most of them had sort of a tribal theme that went with them. Like, Crab had, like, Berserkers, and they had generic Bushi, and then they had Scouts, and then they had, I can't remember their 4th one. It was probably something stanky and crabby and Shadowlandsy.
Holdings, probably, who knows?
Yeah, Holdings or something. Oh, it was probably just walls, right? Oh, no, there was... there was like Carpenter Castle or something. It was something that was just an enormous province strength, and it was just daft. And they gained honor for killing people or something. Anyway, not relevant. But there was these different themes, right? And they were all supported from the get-go, like, quite heavily. You could kind of... Took a couple of expansions, but you could get there. And that's what I'm really hoping for this game. I think it's weird for me that Unicorn have got 3 boxes now, and Dragon and Crab are still only on 1. Like that, I don't know how that happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's only one extra stronghold. Like, give it time.
But it's 2 extra strongholds.
Yeah, I think they just wanted to.
That's what I'm saying.
No, because like everybody's getting strongholds in the cards that are coming out.
Which is a good thing.
It's just that one clan is ahead of the curve by 1 stronghold, right? Like, some clans have got 2, some clans have got 1, and like one clan has got 3.
Yeah, I just want more. I want way more.
I know you want more. I want more. I'll take all the cards right now.
More strongholds. I'll give Tyler a shout in the morning. I'll give him a call. I'll get it. I'll get it fixed up.
Send you a PDF.
That's it. I'll send him some drafts. There you go, mate. Bang these out next week. Easy as.
So
fixed in one 15-minute segment of a pod.
All right. So talking about deck building, let's talk about this Dishonor deck. You've been going on, Butters, about this deck, or this strategy, I guess, for ages, and you finally saw this in action on the weekend, and you think this might be the new meta Scorpion deck, right? So
I think you're getting a bit carried away.
Am I building this one up a bit much?
Jesus Christ, Mel. No pressure, mate. No, look, it's good and it wins, is what I'll say. Like, it's too early. There is no meta at the moment, I suppose, is what I'll preface this with. Like, the Crane pack is still rummaging around and the Unicorn pack is still doing all its damage, so I don't think anything's settled just yet. But certainly this is Soshi Kurai's Dishonor deck. It's probably the first strictly almost 100% dedicated Dishonor deck I've seen out there. Like, it focuses really hard, and he's done a really good job of avoiding the trap of sort of trying to make it half conflict, which I think when I've tried to do Dishonor decks, I've sort of done on purpose. Like, I think, I have to be able to conquest as well, I have to be able to knock them down, but we had a 9-player stronghold tournament over the weekend. This deck came first. Edwin is the player's name, or Soshi Kurai. And he did very well. He went 3-1, and even the one he lost to Lion, which is strange for a Dishonor deck, but don't judge him too hard. It was super tight. Like, he just got not quite. He was very close to winning that as well. It was down to 1 honor. But he just consistently won through honor the whole day. That was the only victory condition. He was playing against decks that have done very well elsewhere, and consistently winning. So I think it's definitely worth a look. And even if it's not 100% top level competitive, I think it's definitely going in the right direction. I think it definitely says good things about alternative win conditions becoming properly viable as like a focus in future. So have you had a chance to have a gander, Merlin, and Had any thoughts?
I have.
What do you reckon?
Well, I just went and had a look at. I found the tournament on Lotus Pavilion, so maybe we can talk about some of the matchups that Edwin faced on his way to the top.
Yeah, yeah.
So my thoughts on the deck. The first thing that I notice, which I'm not sure if I'm surprised about or not, but is the lack of kind of pumps, right? Like this deck isn't going for skill at all, right? It's about using character abilities to try and outmaneuver your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, on the conflict side, I always like to start with the conflict side, actually, when I'm thinking about decks.
Yeah.
We've got Cunning Magistrates, and then we have Court Games, For Shames, Way of the Scorpions, to dishonor people, and thus removing their skill from a conflict. So you don't necessarily need a bunch of skill to win a conflict. That's just sort of one thing. It has non-standard ways of doing attachment control. So it's got Bayushi Collector in there with calling in favors. It's got orange cards in it, so I can play the deck.
It's Merlin approved.
But you know what? Actually, you know what I thought? So something you guys mentioned earlier was that in this deck, the nerf to the City of the Open Hand Stronghold turns out actually might be a buff. Yeah. Tell us about that.
Well, I've played a fair bit of Scorpion. So the thing is, I had beef with City of the Open Hand. Everyone always raved about how good it was, and I always sort of maintained that I struggle with it because I like to bid low and maintain an honor advantage. But that functionally just blanked my box, right? Which is really frustrating. And that happens even more when you're stealing. So I can take one honor. If I'm one below you, if I steal one, now I'm one above you, and I've got to drag myself down way further to be able to turn my box on again next turn and get that honor drain going on. Now, if I have, from turn one, say I've played an Ignoble Enforcers and an Assassinate, I've bottomed myself out to 4, then what happens is I've got now quite a long time for just draining your honor down over the course of the game without building my own honor back up, because you don't necessarily want to, particularly with a lot of the Scorpion cards sitting at 6 honor is the sweet spot, so you can turn on your Alibi Artist and many other cards like your Liar's Mask and everything else if you need it. But they allow you to, I suppose, have a little more control over that low-level honor state. And if you really get into trouble, you can chisel it back up. But ideally, you don't want to. Yeah, before it was just harder to maintain. Now, you can get low, you can stay low, and just keep draining and draining without having to worry about it. And it's harder for your opponent to stop that, I suppose. So that's why I think it's a buff. It's, it doesn't happen a lot, but I think most games you play, it would have happened at least once or twice where you have to go that little bit of extra effort to drain that extra point.
Make you play a slightly riskier game, which I kind of like as well. You want to dump your honor, but then you're not quite as safe when you're really low. But, which is great.
Yeah, so I mean, I like that. Like, it doesn't feel like the Stronghold changed a huge amount from my perspective. Like, it wasn't that big of a nerf. It does feel easier to use in this regard.
For the people listening, I might just give a brief overview of some of the key elements of the deck. I won't go through every card, but I'll just give maybe some flavor for the deck. So, province-wise, it's Secret Cache, Upholding, Meditations, Shameful, and Midnight Revels. So I'm guessing Midnight Revels goes under the box.
Yeah.
Everything else there is pretty nasty to run into. It's a Key Purveyor deck, so no double provinces there. It's running Phoenix Splash, and the Phoenix cards are Oracle of Stone and Display of Power. Yeah. So some notable interactions that kind of jump out at me in the deck. Oracle of Stone is really great, I think, when you're playing a low bid game, because sure, you're sort of drawing 2 and then discarding 2. You're doing a couple of things. You're filtering cards that you don't need, and you're actually getting your opponent potentially down to closer to a deck out situation. So that sort of combos with the Sepp and Truthseeker, who, when leaves play, everybody draws 2 cards, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
There's I Can Swim and some Display of Powers. I Can Swim combos kind of nicely with the Soshi Illusionist? No, Social Puppeteer.
Yeah.
Swapping the bit dials.
Social Puppeteer. Really
yeah. You know what I noticed when the defensive Dishonor deck was starting to come around? I was watching Mark Armitage play at Worlds, and in the Dragon matchup specifically, what I would notice is that he would bid 1 straight out of the gate, drag his opponent's Honor down, 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 down. And this is like a 3-core environment, remember. But then when the Dragon got their tower, right, the way to deal with the tower was to immediately flip the bid to 5, right? So you just gave him back 4 Honor, and now I can swim the tower.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like that, but the Social Puppeteer is like, I'm just going to swap our bid dials. I'm going to bid high now. I'm going to bid, I'm going to give you some Honor, but I'm now going to be able to deal with that tower.
Yeah. I think I Can Swim is also just the most fun in the world for punishing those dual decks that come out. No, like if someone seriously, you're shotgun spraying Dishonor all over the table, right? And someone comes out with a day show, and they're like, I'm gonna cancel your fucking thing, or I'm gonna game a Sedana you, or whatever. And then you just flip I Can Swim because you've bid higher than them. It's the best feeling. It's just,
Did you guys see that meme that was going around on the internet about Euron Greyjoy and like the scorpion shooting the dragon thing from Game of Thrones?
No, I missed that.
Spoilers, by the way, just in case. No?
No.
It was a really funny meme. Somebody had just kind of like looped this bit where he's like firing the scorpion, and he's got like it's firing arrows into like other areas of the show, and then other shows, it cuts to like a scene of Star Trek, and it's got like ships exploding and things, and it's firing more arrows, and the Death Star explodes, he's firing more arrows, and Sauron's tower collapses, and all this type of stuff. So when you said that, when you're like, oh, it's just firing Dishonor, spraying Dishonor at the table, I got this picture of like Euron Greyjoy with the scorpion firing fucking arrows, and then black tokens just landing on my opponent's cards.
That's how it works. Actually, Scorpion have got that card now. They've got that new one where it dishonors like everybody in the conflict now. You just sort of blast and it goes out everywhere. Yeah,
wait,
super
what?
Good stuff. Yeah, it's one of the spoiled cards from one of the new sets. It's 2 fate, and during a conflict, dishonor every participating character that's not a courtier.
Yeah. Hello, Cunning Magistrate and Swarm decks.
Oh yeah, no, it's like
Cunning Magistrate. Here it comes.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. No, it's called something like I don't quite remember, but it's like unspoken etiquette or something like that. It's
yeah. I do remember that card.
Yeah, super good though. I'm looking forward to that card. Fit right in here. But anyway, back to Edwin's deck. It's no look.
Sure.
Yeah.
Back on topic. No, look, I really like it. I played against it during that tournament. It was a really good game. I was playing Unicorn, or basically I was playing Chagsicorn. The whole thing was about getting Chags on the table and running over provinces. The Khan of Khans, the real one, that is. But I think the key thing with Edwin's deck is that, as I said, as Merlin mentioned, it doesn't have much stat bumps at all. It operates off, like it'll submit to attacks and just run Display of Power to, hammer you down and deny your opponent bits and pieces. He doesn't really care about losing honor that way. Really just helps him enable City the open hand.
Yeah.
Chisels you down.
How quick's he winning with this? Is it fairly early?
Consistently sort of turn 3, turn 4. It's definitely a slower deck.
Yeah.
Like, it's not conquesting, but, I mean, it gets there. I sat there and I took note of how Edwin was playing it. And he was absolutely playing a different style of game. Like, it was a very patient game. Like, he wasn't putting too much effort into defending his conflicts. assassinate, but really only when he needed to get his box active. Stuff like that. So he runs the Oracle of Stone and also the Favoured Niece in Dynasty side and also the Seppin Truthseeker and all of that stuff. I asked him, it's all in there, not necessarily to mill your opponent and grind cards out of their deck, but all that stuff is in there to help you fish for your backhanded compliments because they're just so important, right? So they are the key card. As soon as every backhanded compliment you draw is one less card or one less dishonor point you need to hit your opponent with earlier in the game. So until that point, it's just dishonor everywhere.
Yeah, I think Frotop mentioned in one of his videos that the secret to a good dishonor deck was being able to draw more cards than your opponent while pressuring their honor. So you're kind of leveraging card advantage.
To a degree.
You've got your storehouses, your oracles, your truth seekers, all to get cards, go for the earth ring, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you'd be really tempted to put some tattered missives in, wouldn't you? Just
they have legs.
It's something like this where you're looking for the backhanded compliments. You'd be tempted.
Anything like that. I mean, but look, it does work really well. As I said, other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Like, it's got Cunning Magistrates, Kachiko, and like Kiriko all in there that just sort of wholesale shut down opponents' guys. Like, they terminate a conflict if you're in trouble. Same with Assassination. Mark of Shame is a huge swing card.
There's no attachments that he really cares about sticking. Mark of Shame is just for the dishonor, really, which is nice. Makes all that attachment control your opponent's bringing just dead cards.
Yeah, functionally, very dead cards. Yep, running Edicts for his restricted card. And only Shoju and Enforcers as far as big bodies go. They're just 2 Puppeteers. So other than that, it's really standard. But as I said, it's very direct. The only thing that probably looks a little out of place is the Goblin Snakes. But I saw him play those against me, and it was really there. He held on to them until such a time as I had only 1 fate left in my pool that I was maybe hanging on to for some reason. Then he'd play the snake and just get rid of that one, and it took a ton of options out of my hand. Which is like, it's how Goblin Sneak is used correctly. And it's a really good, it's the only thing that's not exactly on point with the game plan out of all those other cards. But I think it shuts down enough that it made a pretty big difference. And I thought it really came off well. As I said, he went 3-1 on this day. He took out first out of 9 players, many of whom are very good players. And, It was a really good deck. It worked really well. I think more people should put their own spin on it, I think. We'll try and post it in the description of the pod. But have a crack of the old Dishonor deck and put your own twist on it and see how consistent you can get. I think it's good. The more non-conquest stuff we can have out there, the better, I think.
I really like that. Also, really making those alternate victory conditions work. Have you seen this Unicorn Honor Bomb deck that people are doing?
I have dabbled in something similar. It's definitely, there's something there. Like, it's definitely doable. I think I've seen 2 versions. One's out of Crane, one's out of Lion. The Crane one you run Festival. So you will like Cav Reserves and or Force of the River to just get tons of little bodies on the table. And then you run
the Festival.
Yeah, then you drop Festival, and they're all honoured, and you can gain like 8 honour in a turn. And you back that up with like Yurt, which is just gain 2 honour, and then you only need a little bit extra. Like, you only really need a couple of air rings or something, and you do that a couple of times, and you're really close. I think it's definitely got legs. A Unicorn have got enough passive little honour bodies now, like the little 1-coster for 2, and you move someone in, you honour someone, and Komoko, and a few other bodies that do quite well in that honour matchup. And then obviously the Lion side is a little more aggressive, which stands to reason, but they do the win a military conflict, honour everybody on your team, and you can also start running stuff out of Lion, like Stand Your Ground, where you can dump the honor token and keep your charge targets on the table. So that works really well.
Lion
in that
naturally synergize with Unicorn as well.
Yeah.
Right, Aaron?
Yeah. It's definitely one of the strong splashes, and each of them splash each other, which is great. Maybe not thematic with where the story's at the moment, but great all the same.
It's kind of funny though.
They're always mixed up with each other. Look at it that way.
Yeah.
So Lion are the next clan pack, aren't they?
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, next month there's some cool stuff in there. Dead Cane. Yeah, but look, that's all really good. We're hitting that time where we probably need to wrap it up because everyone's starting to nod off that's listening to the cast.
That's right. Everybody's now pulling up to their office buildings or wherever, or if you're listening on the way home, they're just arriving at home.
Yep.
We're not watching you. We're just that good.
Yeah. No, But look, no, I'm excited. I'd love to see if anyone out there has sort of different kind of decks with a different game plan that they'd likes to run through. I'm dead keen to hear about them. I really like anything different. Like, not really interested. I think we're not really keen on, Good Stuff Phoenix Mark II. That doesn't really mean anything.
All those other podcasts can deal with that.
Yeah, let's keep the non-competitive stuff over here. No, but just something. I like to push. I can't play the top deck at all. It doesn't matter what it is. When it was Dragon, I just avoided Dragon. When it was Phoenix, I avoided Phoenix.
So does that mean when it's no longer the top deck, you can play it then?
That's absolutely correct. That is exactly how it works.
That's the way it works.
I don't.
You've got like a charm placed on you or something.
I just can't do it.
A
man.
vampire can't walk in sunlight, and you're not allowed to play the top deck.
I think I like puzzles, and I like. Yeah. No, I think I like puzzles, and I like to figure out the way to get things done that's not the standard, which is admittedly not the best way to win, but but it's my way of playing, not necessarily winning.
Yeah, look, my favourite time playing Unicorn was when they were just starting to be kind of okay.
Yeah,
but before they got good, because you really had to work for it.
Yep.
And it was amazing.
I remember that breed of Unicorn, and they were good. That was Rebuild and Reprieve.
And
Yurts had just come out. Shiatomi Encampment. That was that time. That was super good.
That was exactly that time.
Yep. All right, fellas.
All right, guys.
It has been a good ramble. I dig it. Aaron, thanks very much for joining us. It was good. We'll have you on again sometime.
Thanks for having me. It was great.
Good.
Do you want to plug anything, Aaron?
No. I mean, get over to the guys in Ireland. But,
excellent.
What's up, Limerick?
Yeah, what's up, Limerick? What's happening?
Justin and the kids. Didn't they? They all signed like your playmat or something, didn't they, on your way out?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Good stuff. I'll sign it for you as well if you like.
Yeah, I'll bring it in. I'll get all the WA crew.
You just collect one from every country.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys, I will catch you all next time.
All right. Take care, man.
See you guys.
See ya. And...